Hi, it's Martin's Engine Services. Right, I'm just making a little follow up to the video I posted earlier today about the very poorly vauxhall vivaro with the problem with the which I've decided is the exhaust valves not opening on cylinder 4 due to jumps cam timing. Now, as you can see, things have escalated, and Martin was not happy. Well, not happy about it, but I wanted to find out if I could, get any more information on this. So I took the locking rail off and a few bits and pieces, and I've tipped the intercooler out. I tipped it up over there, and there's not that much oil in it, considering. Quite, in fact, there's hardly any in it. So that's I was a little surprised at that. So I've been able to get to the crankshaft pulley down there. Just about see down there and get to the nut on that. So I was able to turn the crank over, or turn the engine over, and I used another piece of wire this time down the glow plug hole to double check where TDC was on that piston. And I had another look at the timing sensor, and it is skewed quite a lot out. One thing I forgot earlier this morning, of course, is the camshafts are actually geared together. The chain drives the rear cam, which obviously drives it that way, but this is geared, so the intake cam is going the opposite way. So when it skews the whole lot, I was getting it a bit confused on how it skewed it. But for certainty, there on the cam, there's two notches stick up, which are the sync notches. They point upwards, and that should be when it's at TDC, and the piston is a long way down the bore. So that 100% confirmed what I thought. Now, turning it over by hand, compression wise, one cylinder appears to have good compression, and then there are two very weird compressions. And then, of course, there's the dead cylinder, which I did test again, and is holding full pressure, full air pressure. So we know all the valves are closing. So that was not a problem there. But so what I have discovered is that the compressions do feel weird. I'm not sure what the firing order is, possibly 1, 3, 4, 2. But so there is one compression that's good. I don't know which one it is. I haven't bothered working it out. So it's obviously the phasing of the valves is just in such a way that it's okay enough for it to run. And I have run it up now with everything off. And one thing was quite surprising. The turbo does actually spin on its own and does provide, well, obviously, don't know if there's any boost because there's no pipe work, but I did run it for about 10 minutes and give it a couple of good revs, and it has already thrown that much oil up the intake here. Now, I cleaned all this out in here, wiped all this clean, and it's literally filled it back up with oil again. So I think we know how much oil is going up the turbo. So that's what I did. I cleaned it out and bingo. So, but it does amazingly enough actually spin on its own. I didn't think it would be able to, but it's still working. So there's not an awful lot more I can really offer this. I've had another little investigation into getting into the top here, but there's 3 open chambers here and a couple of small holes there, but there's no way I can get the borescope down to, I need to be somewhere in the region of about, yeah, there's a cam bearing there, so I'd need to be here, and I just don't think I'm going to get there. I might actually just take that off out of curiosity, see if I can, but I don't think it's going to help us at all. I wasn't going to bother doing any sort of primitive leak down test on the other cylinders, because we know they are firing to a point and it's not going to really prove anything. I haven't got an in-cylinder pressure transducer because that would be quite spectacular to hook that up to the oscilloscope and see what's going on. But that's all a little bit of advanced, that one. But I don't think any more testing is going to really help us on this. So I put everything back that I could electrically, so there was no circuit codes and everything. I've cleared all the codes out, I cranked it over again, and the second I cranked it, bang, camshaft timing code came straight back. So really has definitively proved everything. So that, I think, is definitely that. Not quite sure how to proceed. I mean, the obvious problem he's got is the fact that if we want to try and get another cylinder head, we're obviously going to have to chop this one literally off to get it apart. Then he's going to need a set of injectors. I'm guessing they're what, 100, 125 pound each, something of that value. We can't use, obviously, if he gets a used engine, complete used engine, going to have to take the injectors out of that one to potentially code them. I'm not sure whether the code number is actually on the top of these or not. But if you need to get an injector out of it for any reason and they're corroded in, we're back to square one. So you really need an engine that you can take the injectors out of, or they've been removed from, and you've got to set with it. I mean, also, if you get a used engine, you're going to have to put a timing chain kit on it. Probably drop the sump off and just check the condition of the bearings. And of course, it's going to need a turbo. I think we can. I think we can all get some idea where this is going. I mean, I presume if you could get a sort of lowish mileage complete engine out of an accident damaged vehicle or something, and just swap everything over that's damaged, you'd probably be okay. I mean, obviously, there's intake parts here that could get damaged, but then that all bolts to the cylinder head there. And obviously, we've got all these components are fine. There's nothing wrong with any of these parts. They're all working. It's just the problem with the head and the corroded injectors. Well, and the turbo. If you say it quickly, it's not too bad. Just trying to actually retrieve that. There is actually a big chunk of rust laying in there on the injector. It's actually flaked off somewhere I saw. Yeah, there's bits of this actually just breaking away. There's no chance you'd even get the hold down bolts out, because this hold down bolt here, which was a Torex at some point, has basically now just become a round bolt. And they're quite long bolts according to the diagram I've seen, so they go a long way down in the head. So no hope on that one. In fact, I'm not even going to attempt it. I mean, if the situation should arise that this engine does actually get replaced and I end up with the old one, then I shall simply say there will be some violence involved, because Martin's going to find a way of getting it apart. I've no idea how, but it will come apart, but it won't be pretty. So that can make a whole good entertaining video in its own right. So I just thought I'd post a little update on a few things I've found. I did also double check on that hose here that I said I didn't think it went anywhere, and it doesn't. I don't know what the purpose of it is. The other end of the metal pipe here just goes down the back of the engine and it just stops. So I've no idea what that was for, why it's there. There's nothing to connect each end, so that's it. We will probably never know the logic of that one. It doesn't look too bad a unit to get out, actually. Reasonable access to the exhaust manifold there, gear change cables, wiring looms all on the front here. Doesn't look too disastrous. Usual drive shafts, engine mounts, bits and bobs. I mean, obviously the bumper comes off, front cross member comes off, lower rad support panel comes off. So it's a pretty easy enough thing to get out, I think, and there's plenty of room around it. All the engine mounts easy enough to get to there, so I don't think it'd be any great hardship. But just a very, very expensive repair on, say, a 13-year-old van, it's probably questionable. But you never know. So I just thought I'd make this little update and make a few points that I may have missed or I'd found, and so and definitely verified the situation. But 100% cam timing has jumped. So I shall leave you with a nice view of the explosion of the front of the Vivaro. Pretty straightforward to get off, actually. The locking rail does hook under this panel here, but you can unbolt it and just tip the locking rail out with the intercooler. So, and the rest of this all unbolts with a few 10mm headed bolts and whatnot. So, plenty of space. So anyhow, that was what I got up to just after lunch. I got enthusiastic. And there's the net result. So I hope you found this little update helpful. So please like and subscribe. And again, any thoughts on this or any ideas, suggestions, always appreciated. So thanks very much indeed for watching, and bye for now.